And welcome to the HS Game Time Live Blitz. I'm Fernandez. This is the big ticket KG, Kyle Glaser. We've got some very special guests tonight, Kyle.
Yeah, got two seniors on the King Wolves, really two standouts. Maurice Jones is sitting next to Pep. Chris Lott is here to my right, and these guys have really been the driving force behind the Wolves. You know, kind of historic run. They've had a couple years, you know, of down playoff results, and now they find themselves back in the finals, and these are the two guys that have been through it all.
And the last time King was playing for a CIF championship, they had a couple guys I think people out there might recognize, right?
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard and Tony Snell.
I've heard of those guys.
Now in the NBA, so definitely a good history at King. And I guess that's kind of the first question I have, Chris. Knowing the history of King, how much does that fuel you guys, you know, wanting to be a championship level team?
I think it's one of the more important facts that we have, and we just use that as motivation most of the time. You know, guys like Kawhi and Tony, and even some of the role players like Taylor Cunningham and J.J. Campbell, just to be on that list and trying to be a part of something special is pretty good feeling.
Do you guys talk about that much? What, you know, the past teams have done, and you know, obviously these guys went to the NBA. They're big names that basketball fans obviously recognize. I mean, for Maurice, do you guys think about that? Like, hey, this is a team that went all the way. We could put our own stamp on the King program if we can get this done at the Honda Center this Saturday in Anaheim.
Yes, we've been talking about this pretty much since freshman year. Like me, Chris, and Ryan made a pact freshman year that we want to take this team senior year all the way, and that we could prove to Kawhi and Tony Snell and all the other great players that we can achieve the same thing that they did.
Now, Chris, you guys finished 4th in your own league this year, so it wasn't like you guys rolled through it. How have you guys been able to really turn it up here in the postseason?
We play in a tough league. The Big 8 is probably one of the toughest leagues out there. So just playing against those teams like Corona, Centennial, Roosevelt, those guys helped us prepare for CIF. And also we just practice hard. Coach Dodson, he's been practicing us really hard. And Coach Sweeney's been practicing us hard too. Just a lot of defense and a lot of running.
It sounds like a fun practice, a lot of running. No, but I think Coach said you guys had a kind of a chill practice today, right? I mean, it was kind of easy going.
Yeah, it was pretty easy going because he wants us to relax, get our minds off the next game, just to get us prepared, have some fun, you know, relax and enjoy the journey pretty much.
Now we're looking at some pictures from last night. You guys were in a real battle at Paris. Gutted it out. I think EPJ said something like 9 points in the final minute. Does that sound about right? I mean, let's start with Chris over here. I mean, you guys went on the road, a very tough place to play at Paris High School, but you guys gutted out the win, and now you're heading to the CIF Finals in Division 1A.
Yeah, that game was very up and down. You know, we were down at the half, 23-20, and at halftime we just came together and said that we have to step up our game, and we have to show why King is a team to watch.
And how about you, Maurice? What do you remember from last night in that battle with Paris and pulling away late in that kind of final minutes?
They really wanted to prove that they're the big dogs in town, but they also need to know that the Wolves actually run as a team, as a path, and that we won't back down from any challenge. And we'll take on anybody who steps in our way.
Now, the team you guys are going to play is Villa Park. They're a 7 seed, but they knocked out the number 2 overall seed in the bracket and the number 3 overall seed in the bracket, so clearly these guys can play. What do you have to do to beat them and take home the title?
The main focus is defense. You know, they have big kids, 6'10", I believe, so we have to stop that. I know Maurice has done a fantastic job on their big guys, and so is our freshman Jordan Robinson. So I think the main key is defense and staying poised on the offensive end.
So Maurice, you get that big guy? Is that your duty on Saturday?
Yes, me and my friend Jordan, we have the key roles of guarding the big man. My goal is to help him out and have help side, and we just have to do a better job of guarding him. So.
Now, the other thing, Chris, is Villa Park's defense really was able to shut down a very talented guard in Justin Simon. You're obviously a very talented guard, so seeing what they did to, you know, stop him, how can you prepare to have a big game against a defense that's capable of shutting down big scores?
That's a tough question to answer, but you know, Justin Simon's he's a great guard. You know, he has so many D1 offers, so for them to shut him down is pretty a big feat. But Mentally, I just got to be prepared for that. That they're gonna come after me, and Maurice as well. So we'll try to get our teammates involved, like Matt Mitchell, Jordan Robinson, Ryan Lowe coming off the bench, Kenny, our point guard. Just getting those guys involved. If they have big nights, I think we could pull out a win.
Now, you guys are seniors. You've been through some battles. But there's a lot of young guys on your team as well. You're going to be playing at the Honda Center, a nice, huge arena. I mean, you guys trying to, grab the reins on this and kind of guide the younger guys through this big game and a big atmosphere?
Yes, our goal is to just have some fun. Like, of course, like we want to guide these kids and show them that we want to take them all the way and that we're serious about winning a championship. But our guys can do it, and we believe we do it also. So we all right.
Now, Chris, your uncle Ronnie Lott won a couple Super Bowls. Have you reached out to him at all for some championship advice?
He's been a busy man, so I haven't had the time to get in contact with him. But he was actually at the Lawndale game last week. So just for him to be there was pretty cool. And he's just been too busy to say anything.
Maurice, do you guys get a kick when you see Ronnie Lott in the stands because of Chris over here?
Yeah.
Are you too young to know who he is, or are you?
I heard
Your dad.
I heard who he was. Chris mentioned him to me. I mean, he played football, and I pretty much don't know how to play football, but my dad said I could be a great football player. But I mean, but I think basketball is my key though. But it's always nice to see him in the stands though.
Well, let me ask Chris, why weren't you running around the secondary for King? Why aren't you playing safety on the football team? Have you always been a basketball guy?
I've always been a basketball guy. They come up to me about football, but my heart's just been basketball the whole time.
You got the pedigree, man. You got that football name, so.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, you were averaging about 20 a game during the regular season. Playoffs, it's even more. You're up to about 28 a game. Is that something you've consciously done, stepped up in the postseason, or just kind of happened?
Well, mentally, I knew that in the playoffs that I had to step up big time. But I think that I'd have to give credit to my teammates. They gave me the ball when I was opening the corners, opening out the top of the key. I'm cutting through the basket. They gave me the backdoor pass. I think it's just the teammates that have helped me elevate my game, and also the competition. We play against Chimezi Matu, who's also a D1 athlete in the making. But guys like that helped me elevate my game and help me compete even harder.
You guys have some amazing fans at King High School. I mean, football, basketball, volleyball. I mean, they come out, they support, they get loud and rowdy. Is there a buzz around campus? You want to get all these guys to, make that short trip over to Anaheim to the Honda Center and get that place packed for you?
Yeah, because we've been talking about this since the beginning of the year, that we're for real about this year and that we're a better team than people think we are, that we want to show other sports that, we're for real and we want to come out and compete. So
here's the real question. If you guys win the title, is the team doing the wolf wobble?
Our dance team and our cheerleading team is going to be in Vegas, so usually they're the ones that lead the wobble, but to do the
That's
wobble,
up to you, Chris. It's up to you, Chris.
Can you get coaches Sweeney and Dodson to do it if y'all win?
He did the wobble at the Lawndale game. He actually put in a little Dougie in there too.
Is there a video of that? I'd love to see that.
I wish there's a video.
Mix
If there's
of
a video,
Dougie in
we
there?
got to get that.
All right, so we were talking about it. You guys were the fourth team coming out of the Big 8 League, but did you feel like if you could just get to the playoffs, it was a brand new season? You guys felt like there was enough talent on this team that it didn't matter, don't label us as the fourth place team out of the Big 8. We know that we could put together a special run here.
Yes, because a lot of teams really underestimated us because they thought King's nobody, but we really wanted to show people that we're for real because the Big 8 is really a tough league and that we want to come out and show people that we can compete and we can win this championship. And Sweeney said in the school year that we can't do this, but now that he's seen us mature, really develop our game, that now we can do it.
So I don't mean to rain on the party totally, but we do have to note that you guys did drop down a division to 1A, so it's not quite as stiff of competition as the 1AA. Have you guys, as tough as the teams that you're playing, have you guys noticed that? Do you think that's helped a little bit, that drop down?
Yeah, kind of, because guys like North was actually in our division to begin with, but then they got moved up to the open division.
Too bad, huh?
Too bad,
Darn it.
Yeah, from that division. But, dropping down one division, that with this team's special. And I think that either Division 1AA or 1A, I think that we were going to make a deep run regardless.
Maurice, did you feel that, the same way we were just talking about, making that deep run? The talent was here. You guys are the seniors. I mean, this is your last shot, your last hurrah to win a CIF championship. Did you feel like, hey, let's get to the playoffs and just leave it all out there?
Yeah, because we said it's our last year. Might as well just leave everything out on the line because I have Chris, I have Ryan, all of the rest of my teammates to back me and Chris up. So, because we're the captains, we got to show a better example and show that we're serious, and Ryan Lowe show that he's serious about winning a championship. So we just have to bring it in and just show what we're made of.
You guys mentioned the special group. I think in all of your playoff games, you've had 3 or 4 guys finish in double figures. So how much has that balance really helped you guys get where you're at?
Just to have, our goal is to have 5 guys or maybe 6 guys to be in double figures. But, just to have at least 3 is a great stat because that's at least 30 points, right? 3 men in double figures. So, just having the team as a whole scoring that many points is helping us get to where we are right now.
So let's fast forward to Saturday, 4 o'clock, Honda Center, Anaheim, getting ready to tip off. What are the keys against Villa Park? We talked about their big guy who does a great job. I mean, what do you guys have to do right to get that victory and get a CIF championship, Maurice?
We have to have poise. Our key is to have effort, stay poised, come together as a team, work together. Also have some fun because we never been here before, so we just want to go out there, have some fun, compete, and win a CIF title.
Trying to just embrace the moment. When you walk out there, the huge arena, you're with all your guys, you're playing for a championship, just kind of soak it all in.
Yeah, because we never been here. We were talking about this since freshman year. I always wanted to come to the grand stage. I know everybody else, Chris, everybody else been wanting to go to the grand stage, so there's nothing else to lose, so might as well just put everything out on the line.
Absolutely. I think they've answered all my questions, Pep.
I think they're good. I think they're ready. As long as Coach Sweeney doesn't run them too much. Those hard defensive practices and running that these guys have been talking about. But Maurice Jones, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And Chris Lott, thank you very much, Chris.
And best of luck to you guys on Saturday.
Yeah, so
right.
Saturday, 4 o'clock, Division I A championship at the Honda Center in Anaheim. I think all of Riverside Big 8 league schools, I think everyone's behind you. When you guys do well, it looks good for the entire area. So I'm sure you're going to have a huge crowd out there, and a lot of people want to see you guys succeed and bring that CIF ring back to Riverside.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. All right,
thanks, guys. Appreciate it. You're free to take off. Jeff Parenti, our basketball gurus over here on the side, I think he wants to talk to you as well. So you guys are going to be on the BLITZ, you're going to be in the newspaper, you're going to be everywhere. So
make a championship game, and especially when you're the only team around,
everyone wants to talk to you, right?
Exactly. So, I do want to say, I saw them in their second round game, and I saw them a couple times during the season, and they didn't look like a fourth place team. This was a team that you could tell had the skill to really do some damage. They beat Corona. I believe they beat Roosevelt. They've held their own, and this is not really a Cinderella story. Even though they were the fourth place team in their league, they were the 4 seed in the division playoff bracket. So I wouldn't say it's a shock that King is in this position. Now they just have to finish it off.
They've obviously got the talent, and they've got good senior leadership. I mean, Maurice Jones and Chris Lott are 2 of the best. And, they've got some young guys, and maybe kind of not having that experience will play in their favor, not knowing, hey, this is a big stage. Let's just go out and play basketball and enjoy this moment.
Everyone that's listening to me knows I'm a huge fan of depth, because at this point, everyone has, 2 or even 3 guys who are really, really good. It's those teams that have 6 guys, those guys who can go 7, 8 deep in a rotation and not lose a step. Those are the teams I think can get here, and King is one of those teams. You talk about Jones and Lott, but then you go down, Mitchell and Robinson and Lowe and Sam Parks. I mean, you've got so many guys who can step in, and you don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And that's why I think King has been able to do everything from, run away against teams because they're so deep, but also come back. They're down on the road to Paris, a team that hadn't lost at home all year. And King was able to come forward, be strong and finish strong. And I think some of that had to do with how fresh a lot of their guys were because they run so deep. And having seen both King and Paris, King is absolutely the deeper team, 1 through 8.
Yeah, at this point in the season, fresh legs a huge deal. Now, Kyle, I'm sure I was one. I think you were another person that wanted to see an all-local inland final, right, in Division 1A.
It's always fun.
Well, Temecula Valley played in the other semifinal. They were in a real dogfight last night while King was in their dogfight with Paris. Temecula Valley was also in one, taking on Villa Park, the team that will play King for that championship. Jeff Parenti shot some highlights and a dramatic finish from Temecula Valley. So let's check out the video from last night as Temecula Valley came up just 1 point short against Villa Park in their semifinal game. Let's take you down to T-Town. Temecula Valley hosting Villa Park in the CIF Southern Section Division 1A semifinals. I'm Fernandez, and this is HS Game Time. A dramatic finish in the Bears' den. Temecula Valley superstar Justin Simon cleans up his own miss and puts the Golden Bears in front 53-52 late in the fourth quarter. Villa Park answers with this Kevin Olson triple. But not to be outdone, Temecula Valley's Brian Batchelor fires up a three ball. The Bachelor puts a ring on it. The Golden Bears are back on top, 56-55. Later, with about a minute to play, Olson fouled and calmly knocks down a pair of free throws to give Villa Park the lead, 57-56. On the next Villa Park possession, C.J. Thomas is fouled, but he misses the front end of his 1-and-1 at the line. Riley Schaefer grabs the board with about 10 seconds to go. The Bears push the ball up court. Simon will let it fly from three-point range, and the shot will not fall as time extends for HS Game Time and PE.com. Home crowds in all the inland area, they had them, and Villa Park found a way to escape with a 1 point victory. So now it's Villa Park taking on King for the Division 1A championship Saturday, 4 o'clock in Anaheim.
You know, and this point of the season, all these teams are so close in talent and execution, both on offense and defense. So it's not a surprise that we're talking about close games all the way through. Just comes down to the little thing that pretty much throughout all the divisions at this point. And it really just comes down to, whose night is it, who makes that extra shot, who gets that extra stop. And in this case, it was Villa Park. And I think that if you, took these two teams, played them 10 times, it might come out, split 5-5 because
be back next season. And the Golden Bears had the situation they wanted. They had the ball at the end, and Justin Simon had the ball in his hands. But Temecula Valley still Southwestern League champions. Great season. Just coming up short to Villa Park. Villa Park, the team that almost, I say almost because North did win a CIF title last year, almost beat North. They were in that championship game together, so Villa Park obviously.
Look at their strength of schedule, you look at the star power, you look at everything they've accomplished. They have an outside shot. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, but there's definitely going to be a conversation to be had come Sunday.
Yeah, if you win section, you're in. Runner-up, really good chance. If you Paris, obviously, on Tuesday night, you were checking out North and Mater Dei, and it seemed like just judging your tweets, it was back and forth, and each team were making runs back and forth, and in the end, North coming up short on the road.
And it was kind of what a lot of people expected. I think if you had said, okay, North is going to be able to hang with Mater Dei for 3 quarters, and then Mater Dei would pull away at the end. Pfluger, a point guard, a 6'6", really guarding the perimeter. Mater Dei did a great job closing out on North shooters just because these were a lot of highly recruited guys. That didn't mean they, tried to play as a bunch of individuals. They played excellent team defense. They were physical. They made, good passes when they needed to. And it was really a situation where Mater Dei just kind of finished it off. It was 37-35 at the end of 3 quarters. Mater Dei, it was close after the first quarter. Mater Dei went on a big run the second. North came right back to open the third. I mean, it really was back and forth. At the end of the day, and even Mike Barty, talking to him post-game, said at the end of the day, he felt like the better team won. And, at the game, it was hard to say Mater Dei wasn't the better team. They were on this night.
You got to give credit to North. They were not swallowed up by the moment. It would be easy to just roll over and play dead when you're going on the road to a team historically great like this year. But with all that said, though, we had Deshaun Taylor, Isaiah Clark, Dikembe Martin. Those guys, they're seasoned already, even though Dikembe's only a sophomore. We're just saying he's seasoned. He's had some big games already, but they went to that hostile environment, and, they held their own.
Absolutely. Mater Dei has not lost in that gym since it was built in 06-07. Has not lost to a Southern Section opponent, I should say. So North gave them a great run. And North forced Mater Dei into 19 turnovers. They held Stanley Johnson, under wraps offensively. Very few teams have been able to say that. And, one thing that needs to be pointed out is that Mater Dei was called for 7 fouls. North was called for 18, and that led a lot of people to kind of be rubbed the wrong way. I thought it was a pretty physical game both ways. It definitely didn't help North's case. Once again, even the Coach Barty said it doesn't feel like that is why they lost the game, that, Mater Dei was playing better. But that definitely didn't help North's cause, especially they were really trying to drive in and draw some contact, and they were getting the contact, they just weren't getting the fouls called. And at the end of the day, they weren't getting to the line, and that was that.
And if anyone should know, it would be Coach Mike Barty. He's seen a couple basketball games in his day, and he's played some very good teams along the road, too.
Absolutely. So I think there was some conversation afterward about, home court advantage, Mater Dei, and refs. And there's no question that, particularly at the end, it did seem like some of the whistles might not have been called early shooting with great defense both inside and outside. And that's why the Monarchs are headed to the Open Division Finals, and that's why they're 30-0.
That's unbelievable. We mentioned that Temecula Valley, going back to the Golden Bears real quick, they still have a shot at making state. Well, for North and Centennial, because they're in the Open Division for CIF this year, because they won their first round game, they're automatically moving forward. And I think Centennial maybe has some extra motivation now after losing to North in a very close game, which I think you were at that one as well, right?
Yeah, I was. That was an absolute thriller. We didn't get a chance to talk about it here. One of the best high school games in any sport I've ever been a part of, I've ever seen. So there's no question, Centennial, they would love to have another shot at North. And, it depends on how the state wants to slot them into the playoffs. But at the end of the day, Centennial's still a threat. This is still a very good team. They've got a chip on their shoulder now, feeling like they left the playoffs earlier than they should have 2 years in a row now. And then on the other side, North feels like, hey, we played with Mater Dei for 3 quarters. That's the #1 team in the nation by a lot of ranking systems. If they can play with them, they can play with anyone.
In person, do you think Centennial might be able to match up with the Monarchs a little bit better than North? Or,
it's
hard to say.
Mater Dei still has a size advantage. Centennial, Deontay North is very good inside, but he's 6'6". They have 2 younger guys are 6'7", 6'8", but they're a freshman and sophomore. Matching up against 6'10" MJ Cage and 6'7" Stanley Johnson, and I
don't care who you are. That's a tough matchup.
And as good as Centennial's guards are,
yes,
when there's a 6'6" guy in that wingspan, taking on a 6'2" guy on the perimeter, it's tough to get an open shooting lane. So, could Centennial beat Mater Dei? Sure. Would they be favored to? Absolutely not.
All right, so we'll look for North and Centennial in the state playoffs, which will start next week. And King, our only inland area team playing for a boys basketball CIF title this weekend. There's also only one girls basketball team also playing for a CIF title. That would be Lakeside. They're taking on Santa Barbara in Division III AA. That would be Saturday, 2 o'clock tip-off at Azusa Pacific University. So congrats to the Sun Belt League champion.
They all sort of fell off. The Lancers are the last team standing, and that's impressive because when you look at the greater inland area sports scene, Lakeside isn't normally the program you say, oh, yeah, they're still around. Normally it's the Great Oaks, the Vista Mariettas, the Redlandsies.
Bumps last night. If you go back to last year's CIF championship games, we had Murrieta Valley, JW North, we're just talking about the girls, Santiago, and Mesa Grande Academy. So we had 4 teams playing, and we were very busy at this time last year. Now it's just Lakeside for the girls, and as we mentioned, King for the boys. One of the girls basketball teams that was hoping to punch a seed in this division, and Patriot was at home. They had El Dorado within 4 points in the 4th quarter, so they had a shot to knock off El Dorado on their home court, but they came up just a little bit short. But let's check out those highlights, as Patriot is a program to watch. If you look at how they've done the last couple of years, you can see the progression. It's make the playoffs, then win a game, then make it to the quarterfinals. And this year they made it from Tuesday night.
How about some high school hoops? Patriot hosting El Dorado in the Division IIA semifinals. The Warriors had not lost since December 30th. That's last year. 15 wins in a row. First quarter, Sabrina Avery drives and dishes to Daria Hewitt for the bucket. Patriot with the early 4-point lead. Later, it's Avery finding Acacia Smith, cutting back door, and she lays it in for Patriot. El Dorado fires back. Haley Byrne nails the corner triple. El Dorado led 16-8 after 1 quarter of play. To the second, Brooke Solis going baseline, pulls up for the short jumper. She led all scores, dropping 22 on the Warriors. Patriot responds when Avery gets to the basket, but the Warriors were down by 19-14 at the half. Third quarter, El Dorado comes out on the run. Salas Up to Jalen Jones for the deuce. The Warriors would chip away at the El Dorado lead. Tamia Hewitt working down low. There's 2 of her 9 points in the ball game. Still in the third quarter, Miranda Martinez gets her jumper to drop as the visiting Golden Hawks led by 5. Patriot would not let El Dorado pull away in this one. Avery, the Golden Hawks going on another run late in the third. Salas from long range buries it. Patriot trailed 40-28 heading into the fourth quarter. But you can never count out the Warriors. Avery to the bank on this 3-point attempt and cashes in. That makes it a 4-point game with 3 minutes to play. The Patriot would not get any closer as El Dorado hangs on to win 52-38, the final score.
And these are important steps, Pep. You know, you got to play the best. We spent a lot of time playing, you know, the Long Beach Collies, the Bishop Montgomerys, and people like that in the off season. I think we played over 100 games. You know, tonight we just got outclassed. We're headed in the right direction. So, you know, we hope maybe we'll get into the state playoffs. Who knows? But you can't take anything away from them tonight. El Dorado was a better opponent. They played better basketball tonight. And our shots, some of our shots didn't drop. They did what they had to do tonight.
So John Hill and Patriot, their season comes to an end in the CIF Division 2A semifinals, losing a tough one at home to El Dorado, but you can bet the Warriors will be back. They're young. They've got some great players coming up, and you can see that progression as that program continues to get better. We got to thank Adrenaline Athletic Training here in Riverside for once again hosting the Blitz, and our good friend Leonard Russell, our favorite football player now, right, Kyle? He's one of the best. They've got their football clinics going on now, so if you play football, you like football, thinking about playing football, ever watched a football game, you want to get better, Leonard Russell is the best here at Adrenaline Athletic Training. And the football clinics, as we mentioned, they've started. There's no off season for football. Adrenaline does their football stuff at La Sierra University. Leonard tells me it's near the basketball gym on the all-weather turf field under the lights. They go Monday nights. The youth football is 5:30 to 7. And the varsity is 7 to 8, and they also have some performance clinics prior to those the football workouts. They've got Leonard Russell, Vince Ferragamo, former LA Rams quarterback, which Kyle, we've had him on the show. Mm-hmm. Chris Ferragamo, Anthony Andre, Paco Craig also came onto the Blitz, and Ivory Soley. So some big names that have reached the NFL, so they know what they're talking about. And you can join them here at Adrenaline. And as we mentioned, it's Monday nights, and the varsity starts at 7 o'clock at La Sierra University. So please contact Leonard Russell here at Adrenaline if you are interested. And I know you are if you like football. Jeff Parenti, we're going to see you out there on Monday, right? Working out with all the guys, trying to get that scholarship. You got eligibility, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have 3 years left.
There you go. So, I mean, we'll get you hooked up with Leonard and see how far you can take this. So, Jeff, you've seen a lot of basketball. You love basketball. Temecula Valley, let's go back to that real quick because that was the game you were at last night. I mean, the Golden Bears were on their home floor. I saw the video you sent me. It was that close. I mean, I could feel the victory for Temecula Valley. Did it feel like it was just ripped out of their hands?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And Justin Simon had probably the worst shooting game he's had in, brown and gold. And they lose by a point. And they have essentially three shots with a chance to win it, put it away. So it was that close.
Jeff, I want to go big picture here for a second. You've been covering basketball in the Inland Empire for a long time. You're sort of the guy. You've been involved in sports in Southern California for a while. How has Inland Empire basketball as a whole grown over this, say, the past, 5, 10, 15 years? Let's go, different segments.
Yeah, that's a little bit beyond my scope here, but the travel ball circuit obviously has helped build the talent. I think it's helped build the interest. It's helped, just raise the level of play. But there's a huge interest on the high school level, and I've seen it more this year than I saw it last year. The Marietta Valley quarterfinal last Friday night, after the game, Steve Tarabilda said that they had never seen that gym that packed. And that's what I heard last night at Temecula Valley from some people who've been around there a long time. They'd never seen that gym that packed. So it's a combination, the talent, good teams, exciting games, but then but schools are working hard to build the spirit around those teams, and to get students involved and to get the community involved, and that's what I see in those.
What kind of conversation did you have with them, just kind of maybe preparing them for a Saturday showdown in Anaheim?
Well, the one thing I did talk to him about was Lamont Tyler, who's the 6'10",
the big guy, right?
Just huge presence in the middle. He's got he was closing out on shooters. He wasn't really rebounding as much as he was creating that presence, and that's one of the things that Temecula Valley, some of the players.
Concept.
Well, yeah, in modern days, in modern days of college team.
I mean, you saw Villa Park.
Yeah.
You know a little about King. I mean, how do you think King matches up with them? Similar to what Temecula Valley did?
With those two big freshmen, Jordan Robinson and
Matt Mitchell, yeah.
Thank you. That helps. That'll help King a lot. Temecula Valley doesn't have great. So I think King's got with those two young guys, I think that'll give King for Temecula Valley was C.J. Thomas, who's about a 6'5" forward, and he seemed to be there whenever he needed to be there, either defensively, on a loose ball, on an errant rebound. His older brother was the quarterback at University of Redlands. And,
oh yeah, that's right. I recognize that name.
That's right. Yeah. And he's a similar guy, very fundamental, just seems to be in the right place at the right time. So they're a tough team, and
free throws. That place was packed. I'm sure it was going nuts.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just went up there, knocked him down.
Yeah. Well, and then the coach called it. It was a 1-on-1. Because Simon had missed, so Thomas got the rebound, transition to Olsen. Riley Schaefer gets back and cuts him off, and so he tries to pass to Selway, and they call the 1-on-1. So he had missed his previous 3 free throws in the fourth quarter. So he's stepping up there, down by a point with 34.9 seconds to go, and he makes it, and the coach calls timeout. And so afterwards,
was he icing his own guy? Or?
No, that's what he. Another free throw.
Man, hey, that calm, cool collective, and do you think some?
Alamany was in the mix for the Open Division most of the year, or all year. Yeah. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Yeah, they don't feel the pressure, and yeah, there was a lot of noise on the Valley side, and it was pretty loud. And TV's Gold Zone was rocking.
Stadium, Villa Park, next exit, same, and Angel Stadium right next to the pond. So
it's a home game.
So I mean, they're going to draw well. So King's going to have to probably fight with that too.
But they got some good fans. I mean, like we were talking about volleyball, football. I mean, they come out, so maybe they'll make that short drive down the 91 and check them out.
Absolutely. We'll see. All right. Well, Jeff will be at that game.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Jeff.
It'll be good. Awesome. Thank you so much, and appreciate it.
So you got that game, right? King Villa Park?
We'll be there.
All right. So we'll break that all down on Saturday in the Press Enterprise. Sunday's Press Enterprise, to be technically speaking.
Should be good. All right. You're free to make the trek home to Temecula.
All right.
Enjoy.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
See you, Jeff. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right, so we'll make that transition now from basketball to soccer. We talked about Villa Park having that home court advantage, if you want to call it that, when they play at the Honda Center. Another team that might have some home field advantage, the Corona boys soccer team. They will be playing for the Division II CIF Championship on Friday night, and they will be playing that game on their home field. Now, it just worked out that way. It was already slated that way, a neutral site, Corona High School, but the Panthers have made this incredible run to the championship game. So they will host Simi Valley Royal High School, 7:30 at Corona High School.
I mean, Corona, look at what they've done to their last few opponents. I believe it was 8-0 in the quarters and 5-0 in the semis. I mean, those are FIFA numbers. That's
how about
not
this?
What you're supposed to do.
Outscoring their opponents 26-5 in 4 games.
That's insane. I mean, like I said, that's
a video
what you
game.
do on easy in FIFA. That's not what you're supposed to be able to do in the southern section against Division II opponents, really good teams. A lot of these teams they're playing have those club players who are playing for Arsenal or Galaxy youth teams. And they're rolling them. They're making it look easy, and it's going to be interesting to see if the Panthers can finish it off. If they can, I mean, doesn't it have to be one of the most dominant playoff runs in this area's history in sport?
The matches aren't even close so far.
8-0 in a quarterfinal?
Yeah, it's been ridiculous.
5 in a semi?
And Corona draws really well for home soccer matches for the boys, so it should be a huge crowd out there as they host that championship match. And I saw Royal, they beat King a couple rounds ago 3-1, and Royal's got a very good offensive attack. In fact, Royal's kind of been, they've had their own little hit list on the inland area. They beat King, they beat Bloomington, now they run into Corona in the championship game. So we'll see if Corona can snap Royal's streak of beating our IE teams. But yeah, I don't know if this game will be a blowout, but I still like Corona the way they're just red hot right now.
I mean, it's hard to pick against them, especially when you give that home field advantage. Factor that into play.
All right, to girls soccer, we've got one IE team playing for a championship game. Citrus Valley playing for the Division 6 title, going for a three-peat. They won Division 7 2012, and then last year they won the D6 title. They'll take on, let's see, Oxnard Pacifica on Saturday, 2:30 at Warren High School in Downey. So the Blackhawks going for that three-peat. Just squeaked by Segerstrom in the semifinals with a 1-0 victory in overtime. We've got some of those highlights as you can check those out as Citrus Valley wins a dramatic game in the semis, and they also talk about playing for another championship. And Coach wasn't ready to say the D word, dynasty, quite yet, but they're going for a three-peat, and they're doing big things at Citrus Valley.
1, 2, 3,
The Blackhawks won the Division 7 title in 2012 and a D6 crown last season. They took on Segerstrom in the D6 semifinals on Tuesday. First half, Citrus Valley on the attack. Andrea Alvarez lets it fly. The ball goes through the keeper's hands and off the post. Unlucky. Segerstrom had some opportunities as well, but there's Blackhawks goalkeeper Araceli Wallace turning them away. Later, it's Gabby Hinojosa with the cross, and it's just off the far post. Segerstrom enjoyed its share of success on offense as well, with some attacks on the Citrus Valley frame. But through 80 minutes of action in regulation, this match goes to overtime scoreless. So sudden death, golden goal in OT. Citrus Valley with the ball. Brianne Deemers with the throw-in. Off the header, it's Ashley Smith. Knocks home the winner. Citrus Valley is headed back to the Division 6 championship match with a 1-0 overtime win against Segerstrom. So the Blackhawks will go for a CIF three-peat.
Well, I was just hoping I was going to put it in and not mess it up. I know she has really long throws, and I know it's hard to deal with in the box, so I was kind of just anticipating it going through and just had to put it in.
So how does it feel? You scored the goal that's going to push this team back to the championship match.
It feels amazing. This team does so much, and we're like a family. It's an honor to be able to put it in to put us through to the final.
Defending Division 6 champions, you're going back to reclaim another D6 title. How does that feel?
It feels great. We're even more determined than we've ever been to get a third one. We know it doesn't happen, and we know we can make history, so we're really determined to go and do that.
On the onset of the season, was it always CI?
Sloppy, we didn't pass the ball to feet. We didn't play our style of brand of soccer, which is possession soccer, getting the ball to feet, getting it wide for us.
So big win for Citrus Valley in overtime to push them to, what does he tell them, the defensive strategy or what side to attack on offense? No, he's telling them, but he wanted to make sure that the girls were loose and ready to go. And, you know, you're too tense in a situation like that.
Too. In some teams, you just need to loosen up. And classic case of a coach knowing his players, knowing exactly what they needed, and, you know, putting them
title. Wrestling state championships taking place up in Bakersfield at Rabobank Arena on Friday and Saturday night, the championship matches. Now last year we saw a pair of inland area wrestlers come home with state championships, Derek championship, but when you get up there, you just really never know. A lot of things can happen up there, so we'll see how it pans out. But baseball getting underway. I mean, we're digging in now, and there's a lot of tournaments going on.
The North, Perennial Power, Redlands East Valley, Redlands, Citrus Valley, which made a championship run last year, a run for the title game, I should say. A lot of little area. And Don Lugo tournaments going on as well. Santiago's in it. Roosevelt picked up some very impressive wins over a full surprise. Karupa Hills beating Redlands, you know?
Yeah, I
don't
saw
see
that
that
score as well.
first one. But then we also have
In the past.
They have, but there's a bit of a divisional thing there. Vista Marietta's, you know, been in Division 1 and 2 last few years. Palm Desert's been more of a Division 3 and 4 team. So, I mean, you never want to read too much into anything. Right now, it's just, you know, teams getting their sea legs under them, and off we go.
And was it Redlands East Valley's Tut Hill who whirled a no-hitter.
Lake Tuthill,
Yeah.
senior, threw a no-hitter to open the season for Redlands East Valley.
Man, that's got to feel good.
9th no-hitter in Rev history, and they've had their share of great players. Rev's only 15 years old. It's not like this is a school that goes back all that long of a way. So 9 no-hitters in pretty short history. That's impressive.
Yeah, they pumped out some major league players, some very good players. So Redlands East Valley, part of the RBI tournament, right? So there's a lot of games
they're
going
one
on.
of the hosts, and they want to reclaim the tournament championship. They won it, I believe, in its first 2 years. Redlands won the title last year over Rev. Rev, I think, is the favorite to win it this year. We just look at the best team in the pool. So we'll see if they can do it this year. But so far, so good. Right after that, David Barella came out and threw a complete game 2-hitter shutout. So those lefties, they can pitch.
That is a good 1-2 punch for Rev going forward, certainly. And softball also underway. The big tournament locally is the Stu Pinter. Santiago, your CIF Division I defending champion. They're in it. They won the Stu Pinter tournament last year. So a lot of local teams. I don't have the matchups in front of me. I know Great Oak, Marietta Valley. I think Ukaipa. There's a lot of good teams at that tournament at the Stu Pinter in Corona.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was on my first, or I was just worried about making sure I got the mascots right, because new kids trying to figure it out. But yeah, it's cool. You really have so many good teams in this area, and it's nice that they all get to stay here for a tournament and play each other. Sometimes the best in the area scatter all about. It's LA County, Orange County, San Diego County. It's just really cool to see the best of the best stay in a local tournament and fight it out.
And it makes our lives a lot easier. As
Coverage-wise,
opposed
yes.
to running all over the world trying to track down our local team all in one place. And we get to it's like, oh, well, Santiago's good, but how would they do against a team from Westernly? Well, you tournaments early in the season. So once again, we are live at Adrenaline Athletic Training in Riverside, and we got to thank them once again. And Leonard Russell, when he asks you to do something, you do it.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy, but he's also a super nice guy, big teddy bear. So La Sierra University is where Adrenaline holds its football clinics, and they're Monday nights. So if you want Monday night football, you don't have to watch TV. Adrenaline has you covered. They've got their own Monday night football. If you're a varsity football player, youth football player, they do it all. So the youth start at 5:30, and the varsity football starts at 7. They also have these performance clinics as well, and the varsity performance is at 6, and then it flip-flops. The youth is at 7, so they kind of go vice versa on those times. So, and Leonard will be out. Arizona State guy, NFL running back. I mean, this guy's done it all. He knows how to train. He knows how to coach up football. So if you're looking to take that next level, he's your guy, for sure.
Absolutely. And he knows more than just how to coach football. He's good at coaching conditioning, at making people into athletes. Really, really working with them on all the little things, speed, agility, core strength, that help in all sports. So even if you're not a football player, he's a guy who knows how to get you in shape to do whatever you want to do, whether it's baseball or soccer or really anything.
And he's got a lot of NFL friends, so don't be surprised if some other NFL players just happen to show up at one of these clinics. Like, as we mentioned, Vince Ferragamo, a guy that we've had here on the show, former Rams quarterback.
It's always fun for us sitting at the office and we get a text, hey, mind if this guy comes on?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, it's always good having.
So once again, thank you to Adrenaline, and also thank you to Maurice Jones and Chris Lott from King High School as they lead the boys basketball team into the CIF Division 1A championship game against Villa Park. Saturday, the Honda Center in Anaheim, 4 o'clock tip-off, and it should be a good one. I mean, I know Temecula Valley is probably rooting for King at this point because they don't want to see Villa Park going all the way.
You know what? This is a game where I think it could be, I honestly think it's a coin flip, who wins. Once we talked about, Jeff mentioned there are some things King does better than Temecula Valley, some things they don't do quite as well. We saw how close that game was, and like I said, these are two good teams. When you get to this point, it's going to be close. It's going to be a dogfight, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's decided by, 5 points or less.
And what did Chris Lott say? His uncle is Ronnie Lott?